This is the METS POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The New York Mets have a pair of problems, and both were on full display today in their 12-4 loss in the finale of this series with the San Francisco Giants. Welcome into the Mets Postcast here, live on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel and inside the Locked On Mets podcast feed. Your postcast host, Chris Schubert, here with you after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. The Mets just absolutely no-shows again today. Their pitching was bad. Their hitting was bad once again today. And 12-4 is the Mets scored 2 runs there in that 9th inning. Not indicative of how badly the Mets played today. And I know even after the 12-run outburst yesterday, most of our conversations are centered around the hitting, the offense, the Fab Four, the bottom part of the lineup, Mark Ventos, Brett Baty, Ronnie Mauricio. These are conversations that we have on the regular. I think there is a new problem, new-ish. It's been going on for a little bit now, but it reared its ugly head today. It was part of the game yesterday, although the Mets won, so it wasn't a huge talking point, but it's where I want to start today's postcast.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The Mets have a problem with their rotation. And back up to the trade deadline earlier this week, and the Mets adding 3 relievers in total. First, it was Gregory Soto. Then it was Tyler Rogers, and they put the cherry on top with Ryan Helsley. They added 3 relievers to their bullpen, and everybody could easily see how this was going to go. The Mets had a lead in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning. They were just going to turn to these guys, and Carlos Mendoza was going to have all sorts of options. He was going to have Edwin Diaz. He would have Reed Garrett. He would have Brooks Raley. He would have Gregory Soto. He would have Ryan Helsley. He would have Ryan Stanek. I know he didn't have a great day today. He'll have Ryan Helsley. He'll have all of these options to get through these high leverage situations. And the idea was that the Mets can play a shortened game because of the depth now that their bullpen has. And I could see the argument, right? If your starters only give you 5 innings, and trust me, how many times have we said everybody other than David Peterson does not give the Mets team length? That's fine if when they leave the game, the Mets are in it or the Mets have a lead. What the Mets cannot do, and you've seen it over the last couple of days, is these starters are leaving and they've been giving up some crooked numbers. Frankie Montas today gave the Mets 4 innings. You can take 4 innings if they're 4 scoreless innings. You can't take 4 innings where he gives up 7 runs. The Mets have a rotation problem right now. The 5 innings would be okay. Not going into the 6th, if your name isn't David Peterson, would be okay if those pitchers were giving you 5 lights out, shutout innings. Their pitch count was elevated just because they just threw a ton of pitches, maybe walked a couple of guys, worked out of trouble. But if they were throwing up zeros or the Mets had a 2-1, 3-1 lead, that would be fine. And the criticism with the offense, the Mets, I know, don't score as many runs as some other teams in baseball. It's been pointed out to me a bunch here over the weekend. 3, 4, they don't get to 5 runs in a game, right? Well, the Mets can win those games. The Mets can win 4-2. The Mets can win 3-1. They need their starting pitchers to get it to this fantastic bullpen. They need more from these starters. And so I wonder if it's time to have a conversation about using some of the prospects. If it's time to have a Nolan McLean conversation, if it's time to have a Brandon Sproat conversation to where these prospects need to come up and make some spot starts potentially. They go to a 6-man rotation, or they are used in the Austin Warren role, in the Austin Warren Rico Garcia roster spot, and they piggyback off of maybe a starter like, let's say, Clay Holmes, and they're ready if Clay Holmes hits trouble early, because the Mets are going to continue to trot out this pitching staff. And if the pitching staff is going to continue, the starting pitching staff, going to continue to dig them early holes with this offense that is streaky, is inconsistent. 12 runs yesterday, got 4 runs today. 2 of them were late. The one big hit from Lindor early to give the Mets the lead didn't lead to anything. They need to get better quality. They don't need length as much with the way that they've built this new bullpen. They built a super bullpen so that if they got the quality 4 or 5 innings from these starters, it would be okay. And it's just not okay because the starters aren't giving them what they need. Frankie Montas, again, it was another bad start. And I thought Frankie started today, the first 2 innings. I thought he was good. He threw a lot of first pitch strikes. He got ahead of these Giants batters, allowed him to be in command of the at-bat, allowed him to really throw whatever pitch he wanted. And then where things went south in that 3rd inning, if you look at your trusty play-by-play, you'll notice that in that third inning, things got off the rails because he started throwing some first pitch balls. He wasn't ahead in the count. The Schmidt single that started things in the fourth, first pitch of the at-bat, was a ball. The Bailey fielder's choice, he was ahead of him, but then he had a bunch of at-bats where he just got behind the hitters, and it just did not allow him to utilize his stuff, and then the wheels just fell off, especially there in that fourth inning. The third inning, Lee hits a single. That was on a first pitch ball. Bailey hit a single that made it 1-1. That at-bat had a first pitch ball. I mean, the home run to Devers, he threw a first pitch strike, then tried to get a four-seamer over, and he left it middle, and Devers crushed it. He was just working from behind too much in that third and in the fourth inning, and it just spiraled from there. Again, look at the first two innings. Pouring in first pitch strikes. Got ahead 0-2 on Ramos. Got ahead 0-2 on Devers. Got ahead 0-2 on Adames. That's where Frankie Montas is at his best. Pouring in those strikes, getting those foul balls, working from ahead in the count, because then you can utilize your entire arsenal. Chapman in the second inning, three straight strikes. He threw a first pitch ball to Smith. It was the first batter of the game that he didn't throw a first pitch strike to. So just the command got away from him there in that third inning, not being able to pitch from ahead in the count. And again, that third and fourth inning sent it sideways. And with the way the Mets offense is inconsistent. 12 runs yesterday, only 4 runs today. When it's 4-1 after the third, you are starting to wonder, are they going to be able to score enough? You especially are thinking that the game is over when it's 7-1 with the state that this offense is in. When we come back, we will talk about the offense being back to its old ways after a nice day yesterday, the other stuff to keep an eye on, your thoughts as well. We'll get to all of it here on the other side. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. And if you're out on the course, you're having a good time with friends, you're making those memories, that crazy shot that you've had, the weirdest course that you've been on, these stories, these memories, you have them forever. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best part of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use the promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. If you're already following the action, why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. The FanDuel app, you can track your favorite matchups. They've got fresh new daily promotions, fun ways to bet, easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I am part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Back here on the Mets Postcast, Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed. Chris Schubert with you, recapping a series loss for the New York Mets. They dropped this finale 12-4 to the San Francisco Giants. I do love hearing from you on this, and we'll go to Red Bear, who said, Chris, think about what you're saying. You want the pitchers to be better so the Mets can win games 3-2, 4-2, 3-1. That's not fair to ask of the pitching staff day after day. I would agree. I would agree that they cannot do that every single day. But the Mets do not stand a chance with the way that their offense is right now, as inconsistent, as streaky. If you want to use the word bad, I know there are plenty of you that think the Mets offense is bad. The way this offense is right now, that's the way they're going to have to win games. There's no reinforcements coming through that door. There's nothing that's going to fix this offense other than getting out of the funk. And you watched yesterday's game and you thought to yourself that 12 runs, the top of the lineup being at the center of it, 10 of the 12 RBIs came from that chunk of the lineup, that would be the thing that would spark them. If the Mets try to win every game 3-2, 4-2, 3-1, they're going to lose some games. They're not going to be able to do that every day because they're going to tax their bullpen. Their starters aren't able to give them that. They're not even in a position to win those types of games. But if you try to do that every single day, you're just going to run yourself out of steam. And guess what? We saw that earlier this season. Remember when the bullpen was so good at the beginning of the year? And the rotation was also excellent at the beginning of the year. What was the knock? They weren't giving the Mets length. That was the only criticism that any of us had of the pitching staff at the time, that the starters would go out there, give you 4 or 5 innings. The Mets would either have a lead or be close. The bullpen would shut the door, and the Mets would win a lot of close games in the beginning of the season. You need the same thing right now because the offense just isn't going to put up 7, 8, 9 runs every single night. They put up 12 runs yesterday, and they struggled again today. So they just aren't consistent enough. And Red Bear asks, this team has scored 4 runs or less than 60% of their games. Is that not a bad offense? You look at any metric you want to look at, they have one of the best offensive first basemen in the game. They have one of the best offensive right fielders in the game. They have one of the best offensive left fielders in the game. Brendan Nimmo, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso all rank among the best of the best statistically. They're not scoring enough runs right now, and that leads to a game like today where you're down 4-1 in the third inning, and you're wondering whether or not they're going to be able to come back because yesterday, the 12 runs that they scored, you just don't know how repeatable that is because they haven't been doing it enough so far this season. So the Bats back to their old ways very quickly today, and they have to snap out of this in a hurry because the Cleveland Guardians, I know they were not buyers at the deadline, more so sellers, even though they didn't move Stephen Kwan. They did trade Shane Bieber. They are not a team that you can just take lightly. They are a team that's going to play hard. They're going to be gritty. They've got talent. The Mets are going to need more. They're going to need more from everybody. They need more from their starters. Their starters have to give them more quality. They need more from their offense. There is not a statement coming from me here on this show that the Mets offense is just fine. Everything's great. They can just keep doing what they're doing. No, they need to be better. I just have always believed in the talent level that this group has, that they will turn it on. And if they turn it on and they go on a stretch, this is the perfect time of year to do it. August, September, pennant race, trying to keep serve with the Phillies and win the National League East. This is the time to get hot. We're just waiting to see. We thought it was going to be yesterday. It was not. So now you have to just flush it. You have to turn things around and see what you can do in the beginning of this Guardian series. The stuff to keep an eye on. We'll give a tip of the cap to Mark Vientos for extending his hitting streak, a career high now 11 games with the double that he hit there in the 9th inning. I thought Francisco Alvarez's swing decision, taking the ball the other way for a 2 RBI double. We all want this offense to be better. We all want this offense to do more. I'll say this, you have to take these small wins where you can get them. And another thing, I know they want to get Brett Beatty more involved. I know they want to keep Ronnie Mauricio more involved. Mark Vientos needs to be in the lineup almost every day right now. You have to ride the hot hand. I know the Mets love giving opportunities to these players. They love giving these guys chances to get hot and earn their time. Well, Mark Vientos has earned his time in the middle of an 11-game hitting streak, and he is hitting the ball super hard. He needs to be playing every day. You need to pencil him in either at DH or third base, however you want to do it, but he needs to be in this lineup every day while he is swinging a hot bat because we know with an offense that's struggling, we know what it looks like when Mark Vientos is playing like Mark Vientos of last year. We know he can get things started himself. He can be the leader of an offense. That's how good he was when he got called up last year and into the postseason. So if I'm Carlos Mendoza, if I'm David Stearns, and we're having meetings on what to do to try to turn this thing around, Mark Vientos needs to be in the lineup every day right now. And if he starts to struggle and slide, okay, this is where Brett Beatty or Ronnie Mauricio can earn some more time. And there'll be plenty of chances. There'll be plenty of chances to get those guys in at DH or second base, however you want to do it. There will be chances to keep everybody fresh and involved. But with an offense that is not consistent enough right now, Mark Vientos for 11 straight games has been pretty consistent. I'd just ride with the hot hand and I'd keep things rolling. Back to Francisco Alvarez. I thought it was a really good swing decision. He's been taking the ball the other way more since getting recalled. They showed a stat during the game, it was before the double, that he was ahead of 960 OPS since coming back from being sent down. So he's starting to swing a really hot bat. So there are breadcrumbs here, and we're going to look for those breadcrumbs because that's the thing that keeps us motivated that this team can turn things around, is that it's not a complete disaster. There aren't holes everywhere in this lineup. There's too much talent at the top. The bottom part of the lineup, which was a concern, Mark Vientos has turned a corner. Francisco Alvarez has turned a corner. Cedric Mullins has been okay since getting here. So they're starting to patchwork some of those holes. Now they just need to get hot. Baseball is a streaky sport. They just need to all get hot. And I think we can see what this looks like. Tip of the cap to Austin Warren for the job that he did today, mopping up a lot of those innings so that the Mets could keep their bullpen fresh for this series against the Guardians. But other than that, not really a whole lot of positives to take away from this game, as the Mets felt really good coming out of yesterday. You felt like, okay, you got the offense back on track. You scored 12 runs. Now you go out there, you win today, you win the series. You're riding high going into the week starting tomorrow with the Guardians in town. And yet here we are again talking about the offense struggling, not performing. But more importantly, I think the starting pitching has become a problem. And the Mets need to figure this out because they've built a super bullpen. That super bullpen only works if they have a lead to protect. Getting Ryan Helsley, getting Tyler Rogers, trading for Gregory Soto to help out Edwin Diaz, to give some depth so Reed Garrett's not out there all the time, another lefty so Brooks Raley isn't in every one of those spots. The reason the Mets did that is because when they had a lead late, they wanted to slam the door shut. You can't slam the door shut with those relievers if your starters don't give you a chance. And today, Frankie Montas did not give the Mets a chance in this game. The offense is struggling. The offense didn't pick up Frankie Montas. The offense didn't claw back into this game. But when your starter gives up 7 runs, I don't know how many games you're going to win. I don't care what offense you are not going to win a lot of games when that's the type of start that you get on the mound. So the Mets got to flush it. They have to try to turn the page, and they turn to Sean Manaea tomorrow. The broadcast was mentioning how many pitches we think Sean Manaea goes. Hopefully, Manaea can give this team length and quality as well. Hopefully, he can do what he did his last time out, which when he left him out after 5 innings, he tried to bargain for one more, but he left the game with the Mets having a chance to win. That's what you ask your starters to do. The last 2 days, they didn't get that. The Mets need to get back to that if they want to start winning. They've lost 5 of their last 6. They've got to turn this around. They cannot let it spiral this time of year because one bad series could be the difference between the Phillies or the Mets winning the NL East. That is going to do it for us here on the Mets Postcast. Appreciate all of you joining us, even those who disagree with my takes, even those who don't necessarily love what I have to say. I do appreciate you being here. I love the banter. I love your passion. I love that you want this team to be better. I love that you want this team to be great because it's exactly what we all want. We all want this team to play up to the potential that we know they can have. I think a lot of the frustration that many of us have with this team is because we know how good this team can be if everything is clicking on all cylinders. We are back again tomorrow, the start of the Guardian series. We'll recap the first game of that series. We'll recap a Sean Manaea start, and hopefully we'll recap a Mets win. If you are new here, hit subscribe, turn on that notification bell so that you are notified when we go live. If you're listening to us over in the podcast feed, you can come out and join us live if you'd like. The moment the Mets game is over, you can join us here on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel. Share your instant thoughts with me, with everybody else, as the Mets game concludes. But the Mets dropped this series to the San Francisco Giants. They have now lost 5 of their last 6. They are searching for offensive answers. They are searching for a better starting pitching arsenal from their starters because as of late, it has not been very good. And they will have very quick turnaround back in action tomorrow night. And they will look to get things back on track. Have a good one, Mets fans.